How you doing? My name is Charles Band, and welcome to the first edition of Moonbeam's Video Zone. It's really exciting that we finally have a label dedicated to really cool fantasy films that won't have that hard edge, that will be inspired from films like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Jason and the Argonauts and The Never-Ending Story. Cool films that adults can watch, families can watch, and that kids will really enjoy. Moonbeam's Video Zone is going to be a really cool featurette, and what's going to happen is every single time you see a Moonbeam feature after the film, you're going to get to see the Video Zone, which is kind of like a half-hour magazine devoted to how the picture was made, behind the scenes, interviews with the actors, the director, special effects guys, coming attractions, how to join our Moonbeam fan club. So the next picture we have coming up is called Remote, about this kid with these really cool remote control vehicles. Then we have Dragon World, which is your basic story about a boy and his dragon. After that, we have pictures like Micropolis, The Shrunken City, and Hybrids, and basically really cool fantasy films that I think you'll all enjoy. I'll look forward to also seeing you on the next edition of the Moonbeam Video Zone.
When dinosaurs walked the earth, did they boogie? They sure do in Prehysteria. Welcome to Moonbeam Entertainment, the sister label of Full Moon Entertainment, promising fun-filled fantasy for the entire family. It was a match made in heaven when dinosaur fanatic Peter Von Scholly met up with Full Moon topper Charles Band.
There's a fellow by the name of Pete Von Scholly, who's a storyboard artist that we've used many times in the past, who came to me with this idea, and I thought it was just great. And at the same time, I was beginning to work on the whole Moonbeam idea, the idea of fantasy films that did not have that hard edge. And this made perfect sense as a Moonbeam film, and it turned out to be the first Moonbeam film.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Prehysteria was co-directed by father and son team Albert and Charles Band, an easy task to accomplish with 2 units running simultaneously.
Second unit is leaving.
Well, it became a practical matter, really, because we had to get the schedule done. Some actors were sitting, not doing anything, say, for an hour or two, while others were doing something else, so we took advantage.
Brett Cullen played head of the family Frank Taylor and found it a challenge working with 2 directors.
I find it more interesting because every day you come to work, you don't know who's directing. They flow together very well, and they seem to be of one mind, which makes it really easy for all of us. Because otherwise you could be torn. You have 2 different people with 2 different visions. I think they both have the same idea about what they want.
Shall we take another look at what you got here?
Brett's co-star and love interest is played by Colleen Morris, who enjoyed working on Prehysteria.
Well, I think that doing a family-oriented film is wonderful. I like that. I like that it'll be something that kids can watch and enjoy as well as all ages.
I bet you liked it. Here you go.
A big challenge while casting the film was finding the right actor for the role of Jerry.
Watch the fingers, Godzilla.
It's an amazing thing because we must have interviewed, 2 or 3 dozen kids. Then in walked Austin O'Brien, whom we'd never seen before. When he walked on, we looked at each other and said, that's it.
It was really a lot of fun because we were working with people like Austin O'Brien. It was his first major role in a film, and he now, of course, has done a Schwarzenegger picture called The Last Action Hero. And, I mean, the whole cast was wonderful.
So action are for Dinos and Dolly.
Okay, Dinos and Dolly on action. Here we go.
Young co-stars Austin O'Brien and Samantha Mills had some fun with their newfound pets.
I think it's pretty fun because they look so real, and when you pick them up and you don't feel the wires and stuff, it's like they're your own little pets, and it's just really so cool. I mean, they're fragile. Yeah, they are.
You're invading my space.
Samantha was the only one lucky enough to wear a dinosaur during the shoot.
It's kind of awkward because when you first get it on and you're walking, you have to sort of, it goes out a little more than you're used to, and you have to get out of the way of everything. And usually I have Connie with me, who sort of is like my shadow because she sort of babysits the pterodactyl while I'm wearing her.
Although Austin and Samantha couldn't agree on their favorite dino.
That's a good material.
girl. Sicker Elvis.
They both agreed on the best part about Prehysteria.
The dinosaurs. The dinosaurs, yes.
What the?
The five little mischief makers were brought to life thanks to the magic of David Allen Productions and puppet effects supervisor Mark Rappaport.
This is Prehysteria. And here's some of the dinosaurs from Prehysteria. This here is Elvis. Hey, Elvis. Elvis bites. He's a meat eater. We have Hammer. It's a chasmosaur. This is the Stegosaurus, Jagger, and Paula, the Brachiosaurus. Every dinosaur here has its duplicate and triplicate. And the reason for this is that what you'll see is here, you have this one's cable operated and looks very lifelike. We have another one here that'll be rod puppet. This is a rod puppet Hammer. And what happens is it actually takes puppeteers with rods sticking into the different parts of the body to make it move. And then we have the Madonna character. Now this is an RC. It's what we do is we need a special vest here for the actress to wear underneath her clothing. It's comfortable, it stretches. Turn to the side a little bit. You can see all the different servos and motors that we have in the back.
Working with 5 different dinosaurs on the set was complicated and required some extra effort.
What happens, you have to be very organized to get 5 different cable puppets working at one time. What you have is you have so many constraints. You have the set constraints, you have multiple puppeteers, sometimes up to 18 puppeteers hidden in different areas, and you have 6 feet of cable to hide them in. Logistically, it's incredible. The most important fact is practice. What happens is puppeteers will get together after we make these puppets. We have to sit here and make sure that they work, and then operate them day after day after day. Because without that practice, you can't get the coordination between 5 or 6 people. You have many people who've been in the business a long time, working on different puppet shows. It's a great group, and without this ability, without these people, this show doesn't happen.
Although David Allen Productions gave the dinosaurs life on film, it was thanks to husband and wife team Peter and Andrea Von Schally that the idea was hatched.
Prehysteria was just an outgrowth of a childhood fascination with reptiles and pets and dinosaurs. When I was a little kid, I used to have dreams occasionally of having little pet dinosaurs in terrariums and things. And it was just something that stayed with me. And Charlie asked me at a certain point, who should make the dinosaurs? And I said, Andrea, of course, because I don't know anybody better.
Well, it was, it's basically, of course, it's Pete's idea, it's his dream, and we worked together creating the actual stars of the show, which are the dinosaurs, and that was a lot of fun.
The pygmy dinosaurs are actual miniature replicas of extinct dinosaurs, and a lot of research went into creating them. A special effort was made to inject personality into each character.
For instance, Madonna. When I designed her, I was thinking of Madonna, of course, the actress and movie star, and I made her a little more flashy. Hammer is real strong and looking, and Paula, we decided was gentle, has kind of a fawn-like look, which I tried to do reflect in the coloring too, as well as the sculpting of the face. And Elvis, he's kind of got those dark features and sparkling eyes. So.
King disagrees, man.
Peter Von Schally spent much of his time on the set working on the storyboards, which are basically illustrations of what the scene should look like.
Because Mark's puppets were so capable of acting and performing on the set, they could do so many things, we could really improvise, and I could sit on the side and I'd be watching them shoot and I'd get an idea and I could draw a quick picture of it, and then on a break I could run up to Charlie or David Allen or Mark or somebody and say, hey, what do you think about this? There's a scene where the Tyrannosaurus and the Chasmosaur are pulling on this dog toy, this rubber dog toy, and that was just one of those on the spur of the moment things, and they ran out and got one, and bang, it's in the movie.
Beyond dinosaurs, part of the fun of shooting Prehysteria was taking over the small town of Hanford while shooting on location for several weeks.
It was a big thrill because I was shooting on location, which is not what we usually do too much on, and it was thrilling because it was the real McCoy.
It was kind of fun because it was a small town, and since we were there, we were on the paper.
Yeah,
it was fun.
They had some really neat old places there.
It was pretty.
Had a whole bunch of baseball card shops. Yeah.
And,
it was cool, yeah.
I give you prehistoric life!
By the end of the shoot, however, there was still one question left unanswered.
Prehysteria? What does it mean?
I don't know what it really means. What does it really mean? Do you know? Does anybody know?
Prehysteria is to dinosaurs what Beatlemania was to the Beatles. It's sort of a mental disorder.
It means dinosaur in prehistoric language.
Period. Do you know what prehysteria means?
It's a plan.
Prehysteria means you're crazy about dinosaurs. And we all are.
The fun and imagination may continue if the dinosaurs choose to return.
I hope that Prehysteria and the little dinos come back and have other adventures.
We sure left the door open.
Yes, I guess so.
Yeah.
You love those punks as much as me?
Your kids?
No, the dinos.
Prehysteria. It's dino fun for everyone.
This is Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the Tyrannosaurus that I grew up with, and it represents the way we used to think dinosaurs were, which was like big, slow, clunky animals, and they've been completely reinterpreted by modern science. There's evidence that dinosaurs took care of their young, and that they nested and they traveled in herds, and some of them may have been warm-blooded. These old models show the difference in the skeletons, the same sort of thing, the way they walk with the tail down on the ground and the erect posture. The new skeleton model shows the horizontal stance where the body is balanced and it's moving and it's active. It's very bird-like, actually. The situation with these toys and model kits was the same as the situation with books. This is one of the first dinosaur books ever put out, and it was put out in 1945, and it was reprinted many times. And for a long time, this was one of the only books you could get on the subject. This was really a great book in its day. It was very exciting and inspiring to me. There are a lot of new books nowadays, though, which are much more colorful and much more exciting, really. This one's called The News About Dinosaurs, and it is just full of illustrations of the old ideas versus the new. Dinosaurs have always been one of my favorite things to draw. If you'd like to have some fun drawing dinosaurs, too, maybe I can give you some helpful ideas. Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that dinosaurs are real animals, and you need to know what you're trying to draw. And you need to know how dinosaurs were built. You've got to go down to the skeleton to start with. And the skeleton of a dinosaur is just like the skeleton of a human being or of a dog or a cat or any other animal that we know. It has a skull, it has a spine, it has shoulders and hips. All kids seem to have different favorite dinosaurs. I don't think there's any special kind. And any kid you ask will give you a different favorite. The basic types, Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Stegosaurus, Apatosaurus, which they used to call Brontosaurus. In order to draw a dinosaur, you need a little bit of imagination because we don't have any real dinosaurs we can look at. And any dinosaur that you see is an interpretation based on fossil evidence. So you have to kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. I think maybe the easiest kind of dinosaur to draw would be Tyrannosaurus, some sort of an animal, a dinosaur with two legs. It's a little more like a person. Maybe you can relate to it a little easier than a four-legged animal. After you've drawn your dinosaurs in a lot of different positions and really tried to get a feeling for their shapes, you might even want to move on to the next big step and try to sculpt one, like my wife Andrea does.
Hi, I'm Andrea Von Schally, and I'd like to show you something about how dinosaur models are made and how you can build one yourself. The first thing I do when I decide to make a dinosaur, after I decide what kind it's going to be and do some research and find some pictures to help me. I find some wire and build an armature, which is the base of the sculpture. This wire I just found from an old hat band, and I bent it into shape of a sauropod, and I press it into holes that I've drilled in this piece of wood, using this for a base. You can use any kind of strong wire. I often use hangers because they're sturdy and they're easy to find. And then I use some softer wire, and I start strengthening the armature by wrapping it. And really, the first thing I'm doing is building a dinosaur out of wire, because that's the skeleton, really. That's what holds the whole thing together. And I keep working on this until I have it strong and steady. And then I'm ready to use my material, whatever it's going to be. This is I call it clay, but it's not the kind of clay you use at school. This is a different kind of clay. It's a modeling compound, and the one I use most often is called Sculpey. And I'm starting to put some Sculpey on here to show you how I fatten him up until he starts to form the finished shape that I want. Now for these pieces here, if you have any part that's going to go on a dinosaur that's a separate piece, like these are plates, if I'm making this into a stegosaur or an animal that has plates on his back, I have to reinforce these too. I can't just put a piece of modeling clay with nothing to hold it up because it would break and crack off. So this is a piece of sheet aluminum that I cut off of a Coke can. Now if this dinosaur is a plant eater, he won't have very big jaws. He'll have small jaws, and he might have a beak. And he would use his beak for scraping plant material, like bark, off of trees and plants. Sometimes I'll find something like this is an old dish scrubber, and I press it into the Sculpey, and that just makes a nice rough surface. Or I might use some tin foil, press that in, and it makes it kind of a nice wrinkled surface. Well, after I finish getting the shape of the dinosaur and I have the muscles in and smooth them out, then I put the texture on. And this is a leg. This is what a leg will look like when he's finished. He'll have a leg that's kind of going to be like this. And you can see the finished part here. You have to bake it, and when it's finished, you can paint your model. And this one I've painted. I've used different areas. I've painted different colors. And some of it I put on with a sponge to texture it so it won't all be solid. And then I painted some with a brush. And then some areas I sprayed on. And then he comes out to be a finished dinosaur after he's all done. This is a finished model of a dinosaur. This is a little Hypsilophodon with a boy riding him. And it was a lot of fun to make.
Thank you for visiting with us.
Randy had the world at his fingertips, but just when he had it all in control, things took a turn for the worse.
School called. When I get home, young man, I'm going to confiscate every model in the house.
3 men suspected of robbing a local convenience store are still at large tonight. Police warn that the 3 should be considered armed and dangerous.
I've never known anyone who got expelled before. My mom's threatening to confiscate every model in the house. So I'm taking him to the hideout until things cool down.
He was about to find out what real trouble was all about.
Wow, this is a real pretty house.
How long we gotta hole up here?
Till the cops give up on the roadblocks, 3-4 days maybe.
Now he's matching wits with 3 outlaws who are about to outwit themselves.
No!
Error by error.
Strike spark in the air for you guys!
Blunder by blunder.
Come quick, someone's coming!
Don't worry, kid, we're not gonna hurt you.
Oh, no, look, they got the army after us!
And blow by blow.
You gotta be pretty smart to get away from Louis, kid. Ah, Richie!
He's teaching the bad guys just how far a kid will go. Remote, a comedy powered by adventure.
For more information about Moonbeam films and merchandise, write to Moonbeam, P.O. Box 526, 8721 Santa Monica Boulevard, West Hollywood, California, 90069. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Moonbeam's Video Zone.